In today's video, we show that racing at the very top level in Gran Turismo can be an absolute joy with some incredible racing. So let's jump into this week's daily race C. We're starting from P1. We've got Bradley right behind us, who is an incredibly quick driver, and Consta going from the back of the grid, who is a well-toured driver. Now, this actual lobby in itself wasn't the most competitive lobby you'll ever see. However, when you've got drivers like Bradley and Consta in it, you know you're going to have a good race if you all come together on track. And yes, stick around for this race because it is definitely worth watching all the way through. So starting off, obviously the main aim at the start of any race is just to build up that rhythm, start finding the pace, start getting used to where to push, and just generally get yourself into that zone that, you know, you're putting in decent lap times. So you can see straight away, nothing really going on at the start. We're just both working our way through the first sector at Fuji. And now we're going to be skipping on to lap 3 because it was all fairly smooth running for the first 2 laps until we started to get a bit of a gap there to P3. And now you can see Bradley's picking up that slipstream. Now, again, I'm going to say it again about the slipstream. I've said it quite a lot recently that I believe the custom slipstream is a little bit too strong. I think it needs toning down. I like the fact that we can follow, but it does seem incredibly powerful when you follow. You can see there we tried to tuck underneath Bradley, but ended up bump drafting him on the straight and actually boosted him forward. So tucking him back behind Bradley, and now we're going to be in that slipstream and getting the benefits from it. And you do get some huge benefits on the slipstream on this main straight at Fuji. It definitely needs a little bit of toning down. I think it needs to go back to the level that it was when it was on real, but with the ability to follow. That's what we need. We need to be able to follow the cars in front, but with less strength on that slipstream. That's all PD need to do to fix the current state of things, because especially going into an official season, I think it could be a little bit worrying for some of the very top level drivers, knowing that even if they're the fastest driver on the track, they might not be able to get a top 5 because of the slipstream. So yeah, that could be concerning for them. But you can see here, we're putting Bradley under a lot of pressure here, right up behind him on this replay camera. You can see pretty much following the rear bumper of his car there all the way through this final sector at Fuji, and just trying to get ourselves into a position for the final corner to be able to get that slipstream. However, Bradley makes a mistake on the curb there, and I decide I'm going to go up the inside here and go for a move. However, Bradley sees that one coming, he takes a wider line, and you can see with that extra speed on the straight, he's going to go straight back past us. So switching positions here for fun, and now we're going to tuck back into the slipstream of Bradley. And now watch the instant boost to speed here. Look at that, just instant amount of acceleration that we get from being in the slipstream, and I think that's too exaggerated, but it gives us the opportunity to get a little bit alongside him and go for the move to put ourselves back into P1 in this daily race C. So already we've switched positions multiple times here, and that will not be the end of it. This battle is going to carry on here as we go through lap 5. You can see there going with a purple sector. Now, one thing I didn't notice was Consta was putting in purple sectors, and he was having quite a good run through the field. You can see he's up to P8 at the moment. Now, I wasn't focused on that at this point of the race, and we're just focused on the battle with Bradley, and you can see actually that P8 isn't that far behind in the train behind us. So we're going to skip through to the start, well, the end of lap 5, the start of lap 6, and you can see there Bradley is picking up the slipstream, and he's going to get the slipstream all the way down the straight, and you can see there, look at the speed that he's going to gain. Now that Nissan seems very quick in the slipstream, and we're going to be tucked pretty much behind him here, but we're going to go for a move up the inside, and you can see Bradley sees that coming. We take a tight line to give him space on the outside. Now, one thing I didn't notice when I was actually racing was that Consta went in the pits on lap 5, so he's gone for that early undercut to jump some drivers in front, but we're just having an amazing battle at the front here with Bradley. You see Bradley goes a little bit wide there, so we go a little bit further wide to tuck in behind and try and get a better exit speed. And you can see we've just about managed to get our front of our car alongside the inside. We go for the move up the inside. Bradley sees that coming, then goes for the switcheroo. And again, he manages to get himself back into P1. Absolutely incredible racing here. And this is why racing at the top level in Gran Turismo can be so much fun, because when you get drivers like Bradley, we always have amazing races when we come across anyone like Bradley. Clean, respectful. He gives us the space when we go for a move. We give him the space when he goes for the move. We don't just turn across him. It's really respectful racing. And you can see again here, we're going to try and pick up that slipstream and try and see if we can get the slipstream for the main straight here. So again, having a look up the inside there, but thought better of that. Thought, no, we're not going to go for the move up the inside there. We're going to, this time, go for that slipstream and see if we can do and take advantage of that extra powerful slip and go for a move into turn 1. So you can see we're going to get that draft all the way down the straight. You can see as soon as you get in 6th gear, the advantages of that slip are insane. And he's gone defensive to the right hand side. We're going to go over to the left hand side, and then we're going to try and stay to the middle, but then we're going to swing it to the left here in the braking zone and try and do a bit of a cutback. So you can see we're going to expect Bradley to go a little bit deep there. We're going to cut back and then get that extra drive out the corner, and now we're going to go side by side as we make our way into turn 2. But Bradley still has the inside line there, so we're going to have to give him a bit of space, and you can see there Bradley's able to hold that inside line and keep himself into P1. So again, some absolutely brilliant racing going on here, and this is why a lot of us love sim racing. When you get races like this, this is what it's about. Side by side, great battling, and you can see I was quite surprised at this point we're still maintaining the lead over P3 even with the loss of time. You can see lap 6 we lost about 1.4 1.5 seconds, and we're probably losing about the same amount of time on this lap. So that's 3 seconds pretty much that we're going to lose in 2 laps. And this is where we shouldn't, if we were probably racing in a GT World Series race, we would not be doing this. We probably would have been racing smart and working together. But with it being a daily race, why not race it for fun? This is what it's about. You know, I kind of wish that it wasn't as strong a slipstream as this, but what it does do is it creates absolutely amazing battles. So again, into the final corner here, we're just going to try and get a good exit from this corner. A little bit of movement on the rear there. It's really tricky sometimes to get that power down, but we're both going to go into the pit lane on lap 7 here and go for a fresh set of tyres. Now this is obvious, this week you need a fresh set of tyres. You can't do the no tyre change. If you try it, you'll just be so slow on the last few laps, so do not go for that no tyre change. Now as we come out of the pits here, you can see that Corsair has jumped himself up to P4 with that early pit stop. Now I wasn't aware that he'd pitted early at this stage. I wasn't really aware that he was even in the race. I knew he was in the race, but I wasn't aware of it because of the battling that we were going through with Bradley. However, once I saw him get behind me there, you can see him in the orange car. You'll see him just appear on the replay camera in the distance. So he's around 2 seconds behind there. You just see him pop into the distance, 2 seconds behind. And yeah, that is a little bit of a worry. You can see the gap now 1.9 seconds. So at this stage, I was thinking, right, okay, we probably need to work a little bit better with each other now for a couple of laps so that we can fight towards the end without having to worry about Corsair, because I know that he's going to be catching us. However, I wasn't aware that he had already pitted on lap 5 and his tyres were over 2 laps old. So if I would have known that, maybe I would have fought a little bit more with Bradley, because I would have been less concerned with his tyres because I would have known that they would have gone towards the end. So yeah, I wasn't aware that he had pitted that early. So maybe if I would have known, we probably would have fought this out a little bit more and maybe have gone for a move on this main straight. But you can see what we do this time. We're going to pick the slipstream up and just going to hold behind him in the braking zone. So you can see as we pick up that slipstream, working our way down the straight and gaining massive amounts. You can see the delta just decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. You can see us pulling away from Corsair. Even though Corsair has a little bit of the slipstream, he's not got that massive strength. Now I could have gone for a move here, but I decided to play it smart, thinking that Corsair was on similar lap tyres to us in terms of age. I was really not paying attention that he had pitted on lap 5. So yeah, possibly could have gone for a move there. Now by the time we get to the end of lap 9, you can see as we come through here, I go through on a little bit of a tight angle, and as I put the power down, the rear starts to snap. I tried to catch it and we lose time to Bradley, and we also get a penalty from Gran Turismo because we lost the rear. We tried to catch it, we run wide, we lose time, and then now we're going to lose even more time. It is quite frustrating when you get them penalties, but we're going to have to take it here on lap 10. You can see taking that penalty, and that is going to give Corsair the ability to go straight past us on the main straight. Now once Corsair got past, I was thinking, okay, let's just get into Corsair's slipstream and hope that he can drag us forward and all the way up to Bradley again and get us back into the battle for the lead. So through here, we're just going to play it quite smart, obviously, and we're just going to sit in the slipstream. Not much you can do in terms of overtaking through the middle sector anyway, unless you get that drive that we got on Bradley when we sent one up the inside, but then he ended up getting back past us anyway. So you can see here through this section, just sticking behind Corsair, just trying to keep it nice and smooth, trying not to take too much life out the tyres on that corner. That's a corner that will absolutely kill the tyres. And then by the time we get to the end of lap 11, you can see we're into that slipstream zone. And at this stage, I can see that Bradley has got that gap over 2 seconds. And I'm thinking, doesn't look like Corsair's catching him up. It actually looks like Corsair's starting to struggle. And at this stage, I was thinking maybe he is on a lot older tyres. And I thought, it's time to fight this because we're not going to gain 2 seconds on Bradley. We might as well start this battle now. So we're going to have a little look up the inside and go for a move. But you can see there, Consta brakes very late. So I try and dart back over to the left to try and give ourselves a better exit. Consta goes a little bit aggressive on the throttle. That's going to compromise his exit. So we're going to go down the left-hand side here now and just try and put our front end up the inside. You can see he gives us the space. We give him the space. And he manages to hold onto that P2 for a few more corners. So again, just trying to tuck behind him and see if we can get a good exit off the corner. Had thought about going for a move into the braking zone there, but thought better of it. Thought maybe we'll wait for a better opportunity here. So getting very close to the edge of the track limit there on the exit, just about avoiding the penalty. And now going into the braking zone, just under the Dunlop board. Having a little look again, but again, thinking better of that, deciding to wait it out and go for that safer move with the slipstream on the main straight, because that power of that slipstream just makes your job so much easier when it comes to overtaking. So again, I was thinking here, could we go for a move down the left? But you can see Consta takes the appropriate line there. He takes quite a tight line that makes it pretty difficult to even think about going for a move into that corner. And again, into the final corner now. We're going to use that first gear for a bit more rotation. Then up to second gear, almost losing the rear again, but just about managing to keep that power down. And now you can see Consta's aware. He knows we've got that slipstream and he knows how powerful this slipstream is. So again, into that sixth gear, and this is where the car just picks up the pace. And you can see this is going to be maybe not an easy overtake because we're still side by side, but what we're going to try and do is go all the way to the left hand side, then brake from a very wide angle and then tuck back under with that first gear rotation. And you can see there we've managed to get a really good exit, and again we're going to get ourselves back up to P2, and you can see, have we got enough of the car ahead? We're going to just try and give him space on the inside there. You can see pretty similar to how roles reversed on that corner from the previous lap, and now this time we keep that P2 and we've got to try and hold on now to the very end. You can see Bradley 2.5 seconds ahead. We're not going to catch him with half a lap to go. So this race now is all about just trying to hold on to this P2 in what has been an absolutely incredible daily race seat. And this is the type of race that I think everyone wants to have on Gran Turismo. Battles like this is a privilege to be in these lobbies, racing with drivers like these and having battles like this. And this is why I think we love playing Gran Turismo, because when you have racing like this, Gran Turismo can be possibly some of the best racing you'll see in sim racing. It does need that slipstream looking at there though. As you can see, Consta having a little look up the inside, a little bit too far back there, and we managed to get a really good exit going into the final corner, which pretty much solidifies this P2 now. And then again into the final corner, good exit, and you can see he's got quite a bit of a gap there to try and make up. So we're going to go to the right, just make sure we break that slipstream and then power our way to the finish line for a P2. But yeah, I think I love the battling at the moment, but I do think possibly that slipstream needs toning down just a little bit, just to make the racing a bit more realistic rather than a bit, it's almost like DRS at the moment. That's what it feels like. It's a bit false how you get in the battles. So maybe in the future, PD, just tone that down a little bit, and I think we can still have great racing without that dirty air. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for more content in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.